All right, good afternoon, Belmont Bears. I am sorry I'm a little bit late on our reading for today on our chapter. It's been a very busy morning with our first digital learning virtual session this morning. I know some of you were a part of that. If you weren't able to join, make sure that you check the Class Dojo story for the link to the math lesson, and do not hesitate to reach out to your teacher on Class Dojo with questions or any practice if you want some extra practice or things like that. So make sure you get that checked out. Yesterday we read chapter 11, where Louisiana was in the office of the minister, and she had found the phone, and she wanted to use the phone, do you remember, to call Beverly or Ramey, and she was trying to figure out if she could get them to come get her. She isn't happy. She's with her granny, and they're using her to make money and sing at these funerals, and so she doesn't really want to do that. And so she was trying to call them to see what would happen, but she wasn't able to get a hold of them, and so now she's got this obstacle in her way. Okay, so we're going to see what happens in chapter 12. Remember to jot as I'm reading any ideas that are coming to your mind, so that you can have those for afterwards and kind of share those on the FlipGrid. All right, here we go. Chapter 12. When I got back to the Goodnight Sleep Tight, the palm tree curtains were closed, and the room was dark, and Granny was still in bed. "Granny?" I said. Said Granny, without moving or removing the covers from her head. "Granny," I said in a louder voice. "I am very tired, Louisiana," said Granny. "I am unwell and baffled and compromised. I would like to sleep." And I said, "Well, sleep away. I will be singing at a funeral, and that means we can keep staying in this motel, and you can sleep and sleep and sleep." Granny moved the tiniest bit. She said, "Do not bother resenting me, Louisiana. I have always put you first in this world. I am trying to protect you. I'm working very, very hard to protect you. It is just that I am so tired." She said all this without taking her head out from under the covers. Her voice was muffled. It was as if she were talking to me from a long, long way away. It was as if she had moved to a different country, a country without teeth. "I want to go home," I said. Granny threw the covers off her head. It was the first time I had seen her face to face in what seemed like a long time. She looked different, smaller and less certain. Her mouth was caved in. Her cheeks were flushed. She glared at me. Truthfully, she was somewhat frightening to behold. "Louisiana Elefante," she said. "We are not going home." I glared at her. She glared at me. I looked away first. I said, "I'm hungry." "You are always hungry," said Granny in a relieved voice. She put the covers back over her head. "Yours is a perpetual and unceasing hunger. Go and find some food. I'm working to regain my strength. Do not forget the curse, Louisiana." How could I forget the curse? My great-grandfather sawed my great-grandmother in half on a stage in Elf Ear, Nebraska, and then refused to put her back together again. That is not the kind of thing you forget. It may not be the kind of thing you want to face, but it is also not the kind of thing you forget. I left the room and went and stood in the vestibule of the office of the Goodnight Sleep Tight. I considered the vending machine. Of course, I was hoping that the boy on the roof would show up and offer to get me whatever I wanted, but I was starting to think that maybe I had imagined the boy, just as maybe I had imagined the blue fairy holding out her arms to me the time I almost drowned. Had I imagined the blue fairy? I could not say for certain. Had I imagined the boy? I did not think I had. I knew for a fact that I did not imagine the crow named Clarence, because he had been sitting on top of the Goodnight Sleep Tight sign when I stepped out of my room. "Hello, Clarence," I had shouted at him. He had nodded and looked down at me in a very kingly way. He was probably pleased that I had remembered his name. In any case, the crow was real and the vending machine was real, and I stared at it and thought about what I would get if I could get anything I wanted. I could see Bernice inside the office, sitting at her desk. Her hair was in curlers. What a surprise. I waved at her. She pretended not to see me. If the boys showed up and offered to get me whatever I wanted, I decided that I would select a package of peanut butter crackers and a package of crackers with cheese and one of the ballpoint pens, so that I could continue to write everything down. Oh, and also an O. Henry candy bar because I like the name of them, how upbeat and hopeful they sound. And also because they have caramel in them and peanuts, which is a very good combination. I was thinking of all that when the door to the vestibule opened, and there he was, the boy. "Hey," he said. Oh my goodness, I was glad to see him. I was glad even beyond the contents of the vending machine. And by that, I mean I liked his face and I was glad he existed, even if he couldn't get me the crackers and the pen and the candy bar. "I thought maybe I had made you up," I said to him. "Naw," he said. He stood there, holding the door open, smiling. He nodded in the direction of Bernice. "She don't like me," he said. "Any minute now, and she'll be out here with her broom, trying to chase me off. Come on." The minute we stepped outside, Clarence came swooping down from the sign and landed on the boy's shoulder. I had never seen such black and shiny feathers. The crow stared at me, and I stared back at him, and looking into his eyes was like looking in a dark mirror. I felt that if I looked carefully enough, if I held myself still enough, I would be able to see the whole wide world reflected in that shiny blackness. Almost. "Would he sit on my shoulder?" I said. "I reckon if he gets to where he can trust you, he would." Clarence flapped his wings and took off, past the sign and toward the trees. "What's your name?" said the boy. "Louisiana," I said. "What's yours?" "Burke. Burke Allen. But I ain't the first Burke Allen. My daddy is Burke Allen, and my grandpap is Burke Allen, and his daddy before him was Burke Allen, and his daddy too. There've been a lot of Burke Allens. Well, as far as I know, I am the only Louisiana Elefante." "Well, that's lucky then. You ain't got to be nobody but yourself." I said, "I have a curse on my head." I don't know why I said it. I shouldn't have said it. Granny has always insisted that we not talk about the curse to other people. To speak of the curse only intensifies the curse. That is what Granny said. Granny said a lot. For as long as I could remember, Granny had been talking to me, telling me things, and telling me not to tell things. I had never told Raymie about the curse, or Beverly, but here I was telling this boy I did not know at all. Maybe in addition to being tired of imposing and persevering, I was also tired of keeping my mouth shut. "A curse," said Burke. "Dang." "Yes," I said. "It's a curse of sundering." "Of what?" "Sundering." "I don't know what that is." "It means to tear apart," I said. "All right," he said, "if you say so." He pointed at the "Good night, sleep tight" sign. "See that sign?" he said. "I can climb all the way up to the top of that sign. I can show you how, too." "I'm afraid of heights," I said. "Shoot," he said. "There ain't nothing to be afraid of." "I don't want to fall." "Well, you can't fall because there's this little bitty handholds the whole way up. You just gotta hold on and climb. I can show you how to climb up on the roof, too. Ain't nothing to it." "No," I said. He waited, and I waited. His almost not there hair glinted in the sunlight. "Why is your hair so short?" He shrugged. "My mama cuts all our hair. My daddy and my grandpap and me. She cuts it all the same." "So your mother cuts the hair of Burke Allen and Burke Allen and Burke Allen?" He smiled. "Yeah," he said. "All of us." "Well, my parents are dead. They were trapeze artists." "In a circus?" "No," I said. "They had their own show. They were famous. They were called the Flying Elefantes." "I want to be in a circus," he said. "First chance I get, I'm going to join a circus. Circus trains come through here sometimes. You ever seen a circus train?" I shook my head. "They're all on it. All of them. The whole circus. Elephants and clowns and giraffes and trapeze people. Next time that train comes through here, I'm going to hop on it. Can't nobody stop me." He sighed. He looked up at the motel sign. Here he was, right in front of me, and already he was telling me how he was going to leave. It was the curse of sundering. I would never be free. Suddenly I felt terrified, and also annoyed with Burke Allen. "I thought you said you could get me anything I wanted out of the vending machine." "I can." "Good," I told him. "I want the cheese crackers and the peanut butter crackers and an O. Henry bar and also a pen to write with." He grinned at me. "I'll be right back," he said. A few minutes later he came running out of the office, holding 2 packages of crackers and an O. Henry bar. "I didn't get the pen," he said. On account of I didn't have time. Bernice is right behind me and she ain't happy. Well, Bernice was never happy, was she? Come on, he said. We gotta run. I ran with him. We ran into the woods. At some point, Clarence showed up and he flew over our heads and cawed and cawed. He was laughing as if somebody had just told him a joke. Crows have a good sense of humor. I ran with Burke and Clarence, and I forgot about Granny being toothless and diminished. I forgot about Miss Lulu and how badly she played the organ, and how she refused to share her caramels. I forgot that there were no phone listings for Ramey Clark or Beverly Topinski. I forgot that I had to sing at Hazel Elkhorn's funeral. I forgot that I was far from home, and I ran. All right, that is the end of chapter 12. We're on chapter 13 now. So we have been reintroduced to this new character. We met him 2 chapters ago, the boy. We didn't really know who he was going to be. And I know back then I asked you guys to jot about what character traits you were thinking so far about the boy. What was your first impression of him? Who did you think he was going to be? And so now that we've had one more interaction with him, think about, is he who you thought he was? Does he seem like he's going to be who you thought he was? Are those predictions coming true? Those character traits that you were thinking for him, is he seeming similar to that? Okay, so jot a little bit about adding on to your ideas about this new character, the boy. His name is Burke Allen. So just jot a little bit about that today. And do not forget to share it on the FlipGrid. I'm going to post the link below, as I always do, and on your Class Dojo story, so you can record yourself sharing your thinking, and we can all sort of build on each other's ideas. All right, I hope you guys have had a fabulous day 2 of week 3 of digital learning, and I will see you tomorrow for chapter 13. Bye, Belmont.